Okay, let's just dive right in. It is Tuesday, February 3, 2026.
Here we are.
And if you're listening to this, first of all, congratulations. You officially survived the holidays. You made it through. Or, let's be honest, you probably failed. Dry January.
I think we all failed dry January. It's that time of year where the caffeine intake just goes through the roof.
And the patience for nonsense hits an all-time low. Absolutely. And speaking of cutting through the nonsense, we have a massive stack of sources today.
A really good one.
We've got market reports from Lean & Associates, some data from Voight, a few heavy technical guides from the Department of Energy, and some really sharp strategy from Voxel Micro Video Labs.
And if I had to describe the vibe in industrial real estate right now, I mean, the one word that keeps coming to mind is schizophrenic.
That is the perfect word for it. It feels like we are looking at a split-screen monitor.
Totally.
Right? Because on one side, you have brokers and landlords, and they're just scratching your heads looking at these vacancy lists getting longer and longer. They're panicking.
Wondering where all that easy money from the COVID years went.
Exactly. And then on the other side of the screen, you've got this other group of people who are just absolutely crushing it. It's like two different realities in the same zip code.
It is. And the sources we have today, they explain exactly why that split is happening. The data is calling it the Specialization Mandate.
The Specialization Mandate.
Yeah. If you take one thing away from this deep dive, it has to be that phrase. The market has bifurcated.
Bifurcated. Okay, that's a $10 word for split in two.
Exactly. The era of generic is dead. I mean, the whole four walls and a roof model where you just slap a sign on a dusty box and wait for a bidding war.
That's over.
That is over. The money is flowing, but it's flowing exclusively toward specialization.
And we have the perfect headline to kick this off, something that literally just happened in the last 24 hours that proves this entire point.
This is a huge deal.
Breaking news. Speedo, yes, that's Speedo, the swimsuit company, is moving its North American headquarters.
They're moving from Cypress, out in Orange County, down to Long Beach.
And this isn't just about, finding cheaper rent or a nicer view. Usually when a corporation moves, it's a tax thing, or maybe the CEO wants a shorter commute.
Right.
But the driver here is incredibly specific. It's the Olympics.
Correct. The 2028 Los Angeles Olympic and Paralympic Games, I mean, we're 2 years out. And the gravity of that event is starting to physically reshape the industrial map.
It's really happening.
Yeah, Speedo's parent company, Pentland Brands, they explicitly said the games are the reason for the move.
Which makes total sense. Long Beach is hosting, 11 sports?
11. Open water swimming, water polo, artistic swimming. I mean, Long Beach is effectively becoming the global capital of aquatics for this summer of 2028.
So for Speedo, being there isn't just a nice to have. It's
strategic alignment. They need to be in the splash zone, literally.
Well, let's look at the actual building, because this is where it connects back to that specialization mandate you mentioned. Yeah. They're not just leasing a big warehouse to stack boxes of.
Goggles and swim caps, yeah. Not at all.
No.
There's a 25,000 square foot facility. It's opening this summer. It's going to house over 130 employees, but the layout is the key.
Okay.
It has a dedicated showroom, open office space for collaboration, and then very specific rooms just for product design. It's a functional ecosystem for their brand, not just storage.
And that's the so what, right? This validates Long Beach's entire economic strategy. They've been talking about this Olympic legacy forever.
Years.
The idea of creating an ecosystem for sports and apparel that lasts way past the closing ceremonies.
It's the difference between hosting a party and building a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Long Beach is building a neighborhood for these industries, the blue economy, and Speedo is the proof of concept.
So if Speedo is the success story, let's talk about the struggle, because you mentioned generic is dead.
Right.
But when I look at the port numbers and our stack, I mean, everything looks great. The Port of Long Beach just had its busiest year ever.
It did. 9.9 million TEUs, that's 20-foot equivalent units, moved in 2025. It's just a river of cargo.
So if I'm playing devil's advocate, if the ports are breaking records, shouldn't every warehouse near the 710 freeway be full? More boxes should equal more demand for space.
You would think so. That's the linear assumption. But here's the contradiction. Vacancy is ticking up.
How much?
We're seeing the Inland Empire hit 8.82%, and Orange County, which is usually tight as a drum, is up to 5.63%.
Wow, those are significant jumps from where we were just, 18 months ago?
They are. And it implies this huge disconnect. The stuff coming in isn't just looking for a place to sit. The demand has shifted from storage to function.
Storage to function.
Yeah, the capital isn't flowing into storing cheap consumer goods in dark warehouses anymore. It's flowing into three very specific areas: advanced manufacturing, cold storage, and last-mile logistics.
Okay, let's break those down. Advanced manufacturing. We've been hearing about nearshoring forever. Is it actually happening, or is it just a buzzword?
It's landing right now. 2026 is the year it becomes, tangible. We are seeing massive capital investment in semiconductors, aerospace, and especially electric vehicles.
And here's the kicker for landlords, right?
This is the kicker. These tenants do not want a metal shed.
They're high maintenance.
Extremely. They need heavy power. They need reinforced floors for machinery. They need specific clear heights for robotics. If you're a landlord with a 1980s tilt-up with 400 amps of power and 18-foot ceilings,
You're invisible to them.
you're invisible. You're obsolete.
That's terrifying. You're sitting on an asset that was a gold mine 5 years ago, and now it's basically a dinosaur.
It is the reality of the bifurcation. Class A specialized is full, getting premium rents. Class B generic is just sitting empty, competing on price.
And then there's the geography of it. It seems like the center of gravity is shifting back toward the coast.
Right.
We mentioned Long Beach, but our sources keep bringing up San Pedro.
San Pedro is fascinating right now. It's effectively becoming the creative engine of the port.
What do you mean by that?
You have logistics executives, drayage operators, industrial brokers. They are all physically colliding in this one area.
It's like the Silicon Valley for moving boxes.
In a way, yeah. It's where the logistics leader's playbook is being written. If you want to know where the industry is going, you go to San Pedro.
Which brings us to the crisis facing the professionals themselves. I mean, if the buildings are changing and the locations are changing...
The brokers have to change too. This is the pivot point of the whole deep dive. If you are a real estate professional listening, you cannot just be a transaction agent anymore.
It's not enough.
No, you have to evolve into a strategic advisor.
Okay, that sounds like a great LinkedIn title, but what does that actually mean in practice?
It means the knowledge gap is your biggest enemy. To service these specialized tenants, the ones like Speedo and the EV companies, you need deep technical expertise. You can't just unlock the door and point at the loading dock.
The sources gave a really specific example of this with EV infrastructure. I want to dig into this because I think a lot of people just nod along when they hear EV charging.
But they don't know the details. It is the perfect example of this knowledge gap. So imagine a generic broker. Tenant asks, "Do you need charging?" Tenant says yes. The broker finds a building with some outlets. Done.
Sounds easy. Deal's closed. Pop the champagne.
And that broker just walked their client straight into a disaster. A strategic advisor asks a different question. They ask, do you need level 2 or DC fast charging?
And what is the difference, really? Is it just speed?
It is the difference between plugging in a toaster and plugging in a power plant. Level 2 runs on like 240 volts. It takes maybe 4 to 8 hours to charge a vehicle.
So for a park and sleep model, like a plumbing company where the vans just sit all night.
Exactly. For that, level 2 is fine. But logistics is about speed. Uptime. If you need to turn a delivery van around in 45 minutes to get it back on the road...
Level 2 is useless.
Totally useless. You need DC fast charging. We're talking 480 volts. These things draw anywhere from 20 kilowatts up to 400 kilowatts.
400 kilowatts. Put that in perspective for me.
Okay, a standard small warehouse might only have a 400 amp service panel for the entire building. 1 or 2 of these fast chargers could blow the whole facility's capacity.
So if a broker shows a building and just says, yeah, you can throw some chargers in here, they might be completely lying without even knowing it.
They are setting their client up for a nightmare. Because upgrading that power, getting a new transformer, in California, that can take 12 to 18 months just for the permitting.
18 months. You've just killed the deal and wasted a year of your client's time.
Precisely. A strategic advisor knows to check the transformer and the line capacity before they even schedule the tour. That's the leverage. In a market where tenants are picky, that technical expertise is the only reason they'll hire you.
That's a huge aha moment. It's not about salesmanship anymore. It's about technical competence. But, and this is a big but, even if you know all this stuff, it doesn't matter if nobody knows that you know it.
And that leads us right to the communications crisis.
Yeah.
We see so many pros who have this knowledge, but they are failing to market it. Or, maybe worse, they're marketing it the wrong way.
This brings us to my favorite concept from the Voxel source, the Joe Rogan fallacy.
I love this term. It's so true, it kind of hurts.
Break it down for us. What is the fallacy?
The Joe Rogan fallacy is this mistaken belief that the goal of making media or video is to get famous. Brokers look at these podcasters with millions of subscribers and they think, I need that. I need to be an influencer.
I need to go viral on TikTok doing a dance in a hard hat.
Exactly. But the source makes this brutal point. You are not a celebrity. You're a business owner. And business owners don't need fans. They need clients.
So chasing subscribers is just a vanity metric.
Completely useless. If you're selling commercial real estate, 1 million teenagers following you does nothing for your bank account. You need 10 decision makers. You need the VP of operations at Speedo.
Right. So what's the alternative? If we're not supposed to be making content, and I'm using air quotes there, what are we making?
We are making sales collateral. There is a huge distinction here. Content is entertainment. It's the radio model. You broadcast to everyone.
And hope for the best.
Right. Collateral is an asset designed to close a specific deal or overcome a specific objection.
Give me an example of collateral.
Okay, take the ULA tax in Los Angeles. It's a huge friction point. Sellers are terrified of it.
Okay.
Instead of making a generic, just listed video with a drone and techno music, which, let's be honest,
Everyone ignores the techno drone shots. It's just visual noise at this point.
it is. So instead, you record a deep dive video, maybe 10 minutes long, explaining exactly how to underwrite a deal with the ULA tax impact. You answer the specific fear your client has.
And you don't post it hoping it goes viral.
No. You email it directly to a warm lead.
That is brilliant. You're shortening the sales cycle. You're answering their objection before you even get on the phone with them.
And you establish yourself as that strategic advisor. You're not entertaining them, you're solving their problem. That is how you win in 2026.
Okay, so we've established the strategy. You need to be technical, and you need to produce video collateral to prove it. But here's the hurdle. I feel like most brokers listening right now are sweating a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're experts at closing deals, not at color grading 4K footage or syncing audio.
Tech anxiety. It is the #1 obstacle. And it's a valid fear. I mean, video production is hard.
And the options out there. Well, the source calls it the studio wars, and it paints a pretty bleak picture of what's available in the South Bay.
It really does. It breaks down the options, and pretty much none of them fit the business need.
Let's walk through them because I think anyone who's tried to make video has hit one of these walls. First, you have the corporate factory. The source points to Manhattan Beach Studios.
Right. MBS is legendary. It's where they filmed Star Wars. But for a solo broker, it's just overkill. It's a massive campus, security guards, expensive day rates. You feel like a number. It's a cold transaction.
It's too big, too expensive. So then you go the other way. The peer space scam.
Ugh, the peer space gamble. Renting a random living room or a studio in someone's garage.
I've done this. The AC is loud. The host might flake. The neighbor starts mowing his lawn right when you're in the middle of your big point.
It's just unprofessional. If you were trying to convince a client to trust you with a $10 million asset, you can't be recording in a room that sounds like a bedroom.
Agreed. Then you have the aesthetic studio. West Coast Creative is the example here. Beautiful spaces.
Gorgeous. Great for Instagram photos. Terrible for video.
Aye.
Natural light.
Clouds.
Clouds. If you're recording a 20-minute strategy session and a cloud rolls in, your video goes from bright to dark. The exposure changes. It looks amateur. It kills brand trust because it shows you can't control your environment.
And finally, the audio-only spot. The legacy podcast studios.
Yeah, the South Bay podcast model. Great for audio, but we just established that audio isn't enough anymore. The algorithms in 2026, LinkedIn, YouTube, even Google, they prioritize video, specifically high-res vertical video.
So audio only is fighting with one hand tied behind your back.
You're obsolete. So you have options that are too big, too risky, too inconsistent, or just outdated. This sets the stage for the solution our source is pitching. Voxel Micro Video Labs in San Pedro.
And there's that location again, San Pedro, the creative engine.
Exactly. Voxel is positioning itself as the strategic partner, not just a rental room.
So what makes them different?
It's the no-headache standard. That's their core philosophy. They built the studio specifically to solve that tech anxiety we were talking about.
So it's plug and play?
Completely. Controlled lighting, so no clouds, 4K video recording, and crucially, they frame for vertical video automatically.
So the broker just has to show up and talk.
Show up and speak. That's it. Voxel handles the text so the expert can focus on the message. But there's another layer here that I found really interesting.
What's that?
The ownership.
Yeah, this was a surprising detail. It's owned by a couple Don Allen experience, and one of them is a licensed psychotherapist.
Yes, a psychotherapist and an entrepreneur. And that matters because on-camera anxiety is real. It's a psychological hurdle.
It totally is. Most people freeze up when that red light goes on. You forget your own name.
The imposter syndrome kicks in. So unlike a cold corporate factory, Voxel brings this empathy factor. They understand the anxiety, and they coach you through it. They're focused on the business strategy and the person, not just renting you gear for an hour.
It's all about removing the friction.
That's it.
Yeah.
The market has shifted to specialization.
Hmm?
We know tenants demand technical expertise. The only way to scale that expertise is through video collateral.
And you can only create that collateral if the production process doesn't distract you from your actual job.
Voxel bridges that gap.
It really ties a whole narrative together. We started with Speedo moving to Long Beach, a specialized move. We talked about brokers needing to know the technical details, like the difference between level 2 and DC fast charging.
Right.
And now we have the execution method. Don't try to be Joe Rogan. Be the expert and use a partner that makes it easy.
That is the synthesis. The agents who stick to the old ways, generic listings, cold calling, they're going to struggle in this bifurcated market. The ones who lean into that strategic advisor role and build a library of answers, they're the ones who are going to win.
So here's the call to action. It seems pretty clear. If you're in real estate, logistics, industrial brokerage, and you're listening to this thinking, I have that knowledge, I know about the transformers, I know about the ULA tax.
Then you need the medium to share it. Stop chasing subscribers. Chase the deal. And stop worrying about all the tech noise, the blurry cameras, the audio sync, the bad lighting.
Head down to San Pedro. Visit Voxel Micro Video Labs. It is right there in the creative engine of the port. Start building your own library of sales collateral.
Create your own video podcast at Voxel Micro Video Labs by Don Allen Experience. The tools are there. You just have to use them.
And it is a lot easier than you think. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked a lot about change today. The market, the buildings, the technology.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But the next time you are walking a potential tenant through a warehouse, looking at those four walls, ask yourself this question. In a market where tenants hold all the leverage and generic is dying, are you the broker who just points at the walls?
Or are you the one who explains how the building powers their future? That's the million-dollar question.
Something to mull over. That's it for this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.
See you then.